Hello, our viewers. Welcome to today's webinar, Scaling Up Marketing in Startups with Limited Resources and Frugal Innovation by Growth Natives. My name is Kushbu, and I'll be your host for today. So brief about myself. I'm currently working as marketing enthusiast and growth hacker at Growth Natives for its Martech services that helps organization attract, regrow, convert their customers. Prior joining to Growth Natives, I've worked as marketing specialist for over 4 years with a leading marketing agency. I also hold the marketing and events background, most recently virtual events in the backend production. And I'll be your host for today. A few housekeeping notes. This webinar session will be approximately 40 minutes long, and you can ask your questions in the comment section, which is mentioned below, and also mail me at kushbu@growthnatives.com. This session is recorded and you will be receiving via our marketing emails. Also, you can see this on our website or our YouTube channel. Also, the benefit is that the PDF version to this presentation can be found on our website as well. So before we get started, let me tell you something about Growth Natives. We are a trusted modern marketing and customer engagement agency that combines state-of-the-art technology with creative passion, enabling true digital experiences. We enable by growth by building exceptional online experiences that inspire and engage. And we do this by combining creativity, technology, and analytics. We also have developed trustworthy relationships with our strategic partners whose skills and experience enrich and enhance on our own. Some of them are Marketo, Adobe, Salesforce, and many more. Growth Natives team have been around the block a few times. We have helped and served over 100 clients coast to coast and around the world. As always, our Martech experts have helped our clients raise billions of dollars. We would love to and help you and serve you as well. Just a little bit more about our brands, what drive us. So one of the cornerstone of our culture is we over me attitude. So we want this to be inculcated in every person who's on our team. The cultural advantage is real, and clients today seek organizations that are culturally aligned with them. This also makes sure the teams are on the same page regarding projects and work ethics. We believe in making a memorable customer experience by providing you sole point of contact, our customer success consultant, so that you can focus on the growth side of your business while we work in the back end. We are the market experts with, you can see 800 years of combined experiences, working over 90 plus technologies, and working with 170 plus customers. It's time, to welcome. And also, just let me tell you more. Your team is, very critical to your success. We all know that. And that's true whether you are building a startup or putting together a great webinar. We have got a number of great partners in the startup community, but for today's event, it's the best of the best. Growth Natives has always focused on the team, the community, so we know that together we can go further. And to today bring you today's webinar, we have our esteemed guest speaker, Beth Pfefferele. Beth, say hi to our viewers.
Yes, hello everyone. Thanks so much, Kushbu, for asking me to join today. I'm very excited to chat with you.
Awesome. So viewers, let me tell you something more about our guest speaker. She is leading a team of, B2B marketers responsible for evangelizing new product category and educating their customers about their RevOps solution, RevOps platform, which is Fullcast. Throughout her career, Beth has worked across various of industries, mostly tech startups. Beth has also marketed mobile, fintech, data, and analytics, and also medical devices solutions too. Interestingly, she co-founded Boston Organic, a family business with her husband, to provide fresh organic food to families, businesses in her community. And Boston Organic was successfully acquired in 2020. Beth has graduated with a BA from Harvard College and an MBA from the Watson School of Business at the University of Pennsylvania. I'll tell you more about Fullcast, where Beth is currently working as a team lead. Uh, Fullcast is a GTM planning platform that keeps revenue operations running smoothly and sales team operating at full strength. So even when plans, are constantly changing. So with Fullcast, users build territories in days and then continuously make updates in response of changing, market conditions. And we know how rapidly the market conditions are changing. So that the strategy, is always aligned with the execution that the team has planned. You can know more about Fullcast. Just hop on the website, which is very easy to follow, fullcast.io. We'll talk more about the topic now. So today we will, talk about growth marketing and how startups scale up their marketing with limited resources and frugal innovations. To start with it, let me tell you about growth marketing that startups these days are adopting. Growth marketing strategies are how you put together your plan and develop your customer experience based on your customer segmentation. The growth strategy is aimed at winning and keeping customers better and faster than your competition. What we believe is that growth marketing is equal to an insane focus on customers, plus adaptive marketing practices, plus a system to plan and optimize marketing. The art of marketing is to systematically implement these growth strategies and then optimize and scale to achieve the rapid growth. Also, the growth marketing canvas focuses on understanding and optimizing the conversion point. What we believe is it's based on the following principles that are number one, full funnel marketing, which is double A triple R, what we say it. First is acquisition, activation, retention, referral, and then revenue. And then we follow the lean startup experimentation, in which you can ideate and then prioritize, test your marketing strategies, and learn from it. Third will be the customer experience design. Systematically design that and develop those best customer experiences. The lean startup and lean methodology were made popular by Eric Ries. I recommend you reading both of the lean startup by Eric and his follow book, The Startup Way. The lean methodology is about, rapid experimentation, learning what works, and then ditching what doesn't work for you, and then having a strong feedback loop to adapt the service or product to fit in the market. Growth marketing involves a lot of, experimentation and implementation. For each experiment, you set an hypothesis and then devise an experiment to test it. With the result, you then validate your hypothesis and optimize or conduct another experiment based on it. Essentially, marketing has become more dynamic as a result of digital platforms, integrations, and hence how fast you can, access to your results. Another key point is that with content and channels, you can now rapidly pivot it. In other words, adapt and change the tactics to optimize your ad spend. Beth, I again warm welcome you today to our today's webinar. We would love to know about your experiences, from building marketing strategies to getting it executed. So a few questions I'll ask you. So my first question would be, can you share your idea or approach of growth marketing that uh, you may have adopted or you want your fellow marketers to know about?
Yes, thanks so much, Kushbu. Yeah, as Kushbu mentioned in the bio, I've spent a big part of my career at early stage startups, at some bootstrap companies, Series A-ish, early Series B companies. So I've been involved several times in getting the marketing function off the ground as one of the first marketers at the company. And I think that the term growth marketing and early stage startup marketing are really synonymous. growth marketing, I think, is exactly how you have to approach marketing at an early stage startup. In most cases, you're not going to have a lot of resources or budget. You may be the first marketing hire. You may have a really small team, and you just need to figure stuff out, right? So you need to be scrappy and move quickly. So how do you do that? Like, you need to have a really strong willingness to try new things, not be afraid to experiment. You need to look hard at data and call a failure a failure and move on, which seems is the core definition of growth marketing. So just for an example, one of the first things I often do when I join an early stage startup is kind of to figure out the fundamentals, right? Like, what is the company's message? What does the company even do? And what's its value prop? Um, because those things are often not so clear in a startup when you're the first marketing person. And so getting to the answer here and really involves collecting a lot of customer feedback to test different messaging, to see what works and doesn't work. And this can be hard in a startup because you may not even have a lot of customers at this early stage. So you have to be creative and talk to advisors and go to trade shows and talk to people on the trade show floor now that they're back and get their feedback and sit in on sales calls and talk to sales reps. And then always be testing and tweaking and iterating your messaging. I think there's probably never not a time that I'm not running a homepage A/B test on our website, because there's always something new you can learn and something that can be improved on, whether it's your headline, your tagline, or your website layout. So I think overall in a startup, you just really need to take that fail fast mentality and apply it to everything that you do. So if you're running Google or LinkedIn ads, you can't just set it and forget it, right? You need to closely track and watch the data and then be ready to pivot based on what the data is telling you.
That's really good to know about your opinion on it, and I truly believe. Uh, so coming on to the next question, Bess, considering your years of experience, can you please enlighten us on how to scale up from startup to growth, then growth to expansion, and then most importantly, sustainability of the business?
Yeah. So, as Kushbu mentioned earlier, growth marketing really focuses on the entire funnel and building out the entire customer experience. Sometimes that's really hard when you're at a small startup and you're a 1 or 2 person marketing team, because your efforts really get pulled toward the top of the funnel and toward demand generation and demand capture. But I still believe even at that stage, there's small things you can do to improve the customer experience, like making sure your lead to hand off to sales is smooth, so there's no friction there, right? But as you grow and even get to the growth stage and your team and your revenues grow, this is really where you can expand your efforts and focus on that customer experience. And especially today, in today's current economic environment, everyone's trying to do more with less. And the focus on existing customers is really paramount, because retention upsells are critical to growing your business, right? And this is where you can outdo your competitors. So even at that growth stage, you can implement these principles of growth marketing. So I was at a fintech startup, and we worked incredibly closely with customer success to make sure that the service we provided to our customers was top in the industry. As in marketing, we spent much of our time nurturing customers, personalizing our interactions, making sure that our customers were successful in their own businesses. So we couldn't beat our competitors on price, but we could on customer experience, and we had the NPS scores to prove that. So that's, I think, how you move through in terms of your marketing strategy. But then also you need to consider how your marketing operations will change as you grow. And it can be hard, I think, to maintain a growth mentality as you grow, because there's more people, more functions, and you run into silos and bureaucracy, and as the company scales. And I think that's only natural, but I think that's why it's really important to keep that growth mentality and consider like marketing operating models, like using sprints, right? So you can keep the agility going. Or as you grow, you may across the company take a RevOps approach to your sales, marketing, and customer success. So you align sales, marketing, and customer success, and all the systems and tools operate in a coherent system. So hopefully that answered your question.
Yes, that pretty much answers the question. Okay, so Beth, what are the distinctive marketing, strategies that you think should be implemented in different industries? based on your multi-industrial experience or based on your current experience as well, if you can guide us to.
Yeah, so it's been a little while since I've worked outside of tech, when I was in the medical device industry. So I don't feel completely qualified to speak about how industries should do their marketing because they all have like different needs and circumstances. But maybe to turn the question on its head a little, I do think there are many lessons that B2B tech marketers can take from other industries, particularly B2C companies, right? So there are a lot of things that B2C companies are doing that really connect with customers that I think B2B companies can learn a lot from. So I always use this example, but I have a Peloton and I love it. And I know that company has experienced some internal challenges recently with layoffs and things, but I think from a marketing perspective, that company has really succeeded in fostering connection and building a community right around their product. And I think it's a great example of a company succeeding with the AARR, the
Yeah.
double A, triple R's. So I think there's a lot that tech companies, B2B companies can learn from good examples like that.
That's good to know, Beth. And that I think that's quite an fruitful answers for our viewers as well. So let's move forward and talk about more about the big elephant in the room, which is like frugal innovation. It isn't the best time to, as they say, it isn't the best time to start a startup. It may sound a bit cliched, given the whole startup ecosystem is based on solving problems that that the big corporations and the existing players in the market tend to overlook. However, even startups are a function of overall economy, and venture capitals have dwindled in the last 3 years. You don't need to be an economist to know the fragility of the global economy or the events that have, led us here. Just as we started making a comeback after 2 years of the real battle against coronavirus, the Russian-Ukraine war has dealt us a severe blow. Energy prices have soared, and so has the inflation, putting the economy back to the tailspin. The Twitter saga and the mass layoffs at Amazon Meta don't create the right buzz in the market. So here comes the idea of frugal innovation. It can be defined as an attempt to maximize the ratio of value to resources. Value could be more of like, more for customers, shareholders, or society more generally. The resources can be energy, capital, or time. Thus, frugal innovation is termed as the ability to do better with less resources for more people. That is to create significantly more value by minimizing the use of resources. The frugal approach to innovation is destructive. As in my experience, it requires, company to focus on simultaneously maximizing the value while minimizing the use of resources. It revolves around saying, doing more with less. There's a concept of, frugal innovation originated in emerging markets, where social entrepreneurs and enthusiastic designers perfected the idea of creating low cost, highly user friendly devices, also fulfill a social need. Let's take an example or a few examples. A clay fridge that uses no electricity but keeps your food cool. Mobile money services for people without bank accounts, and a billboard that collects water from the humid air in the rain-scarce area of Peru. All these are all, cited examples of frugal innovation in the developing countries. What we believe is that frugal innovation in developed markets often focuses on overcoming particular resources constraints, such as lack of electricity, other, problems that aren't usually seen in the developed world. In that context, there is different set of constraints. The financial aftershock of the Great Recession, curbing spending, climate crisis putting pressure on companies to decrease the use of, resources, and an aging population needing more targeted and user-friendly products. So these were all points that I believe that our viewers should know about the frugal innovation. I know it has been round the block many times from past 3 years after the COVID time period as well. And it is always good to know, good to hear about these kind of topics from the experts themselves. So to, move forward with that, Beth, what is your take on frugal innovation?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And I will admit that when we first talked about doing this webinar, I was like, I wasn't deeply familiar with the term frugal innovation. So after talking to you, Kushbu, and doing some more research, I'm like, wow, that makes a lot of sense to me. I feel like being in the tech industry in December 2022, that's really the name of the game. And as it relates to marketing, our constraint is really capital, and everyone is cutting back and trying to extend their runway. And as you said, do more with less. So I think to succeed, companies are going to have a growth marketing mindset, assess new ideas quickly, cut out what's working and not working, and double down on what's working, and really have to think out of the box and be creative. So I think from a marketing perspective, like things like repurposing content will be like the name of the game. For example, at my last company, we took all of our blogs and we turned them into a book. And I worried like, oh, people are going to know that we just were using this. But no, it turned out it was super effective and super successful, and turned out to be our highest lead gen asset that I've ever produced. And originally when someone said, let's publish a book, we were kind of like, oh, that's going to take a year. But then, we thought out of the box, and that's what made it possible. And I don't think otherwise we would have been able to publish a book with so little resources. Another example is that we took our webinars and we turned them into a certified training course. And that also became a huge lead generating tool, but as well as a great tool for customer retention. So I think there are a lot of ways that marketers can operate to get more with less. And I think I heard this term that I really liked, is that we really need to outsmart and not outspend. So I think that's where we are today in marketing.
Yeah, that's truly said that, effectively spending money on the ads or the other marketing strategies and then analyzing what you're experimenting. That's the key in
Right,
current
exactly.
scenarios.
Yeah.
Uh, so, Beth, how would you relate Fullcast with frugal innovation, if in case you
Yeah.
have to?
Yeah. So I would say that Fullcast right now is like other tech companies in terms of having a frugal mindset, and that's how we're operating across the company. I will say that we're in a very lucky position in that we're selling a product that allows customers to do more with less. So a little plug for Fullcast, but our software enables customers to build more effective sales territories so they get more out of their existing sales resources or their shrinking sales resources. So that's really what we're doubling down on in all of our messaging, is that, this is the kind of tool you read right now. And I do think that other companies that offer solutions like Fullcast will be in a good position to ride out the recession. But from a daily like marketing perspective, like everyone else, we're being cautious and looking to extend our runway. We're looking hard at the programs that work and don't work. And we're being ruthless about prioritizing. We're putting off things we might otherwise consider, like maybe hiring a PR agency for media coverage. And instead we're doing things like guest blogging and responding to reporters directly. We're cutting back on trade shows and forming a user group to build community. So I think there are definitely ways you can get through this time period and still be really effective, but not kind of follow the old traditional high spend marketing activities.
Yeah, I agree. And even to agree to your point, Beth, I believe that earlier, before the coronavirus time period, uh, or we can say the pandemic time period, the virtual events, marketing, virtual event attending, sponsoring, exhibiting, those were the highest selling points at that moment of time. And just after the pandemic, it switched like, just flipped, the coin has flipped. Uh, we have recently attended many trade shows, but have seen that there's not much of traction because people are now believing in, maybe cost cutting or maybe cost affecting, being more economical, I'll say. So that's the, I
Yeah.
guess, yeah. So I guess that's the most interesting thing. We as a marketer have seen, a thrift in this uh, marketing strategies switch after these pandemic situations?
Yeah, I think that trade shows are the perfect example of that. When this came down, everything shut down because of COVID. I had 6 trade shows planned for the rest of the year,
Yeah.
and then they were gone. And so it was like, how are we going to pivot and still meet our goals? And so I think people got a lot more creative in that time period and have figured out other things that work. And maybe trade shows aren't even, maybe looking at it in a different way now that they're back. So yes, it was a really interesting shift in marketing, certainly during that time period.
Yes. So we can say that marketing is evolving now.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so Beth, according to you, how changing needs of target audiences, are impacting your current product marketing strategies or the development?
Yeah, I'll say this isn't it's not necessarily a new trend. It's been happening for years now, but I think it's so important in B2B marketing is that prospects are, and I think we've all heard the stats, they've completed 70 or 80% of their research before they even talk to a sales rep. So I think that's really an important stat for marketing. It puts a huge responsibility on marketing to educate and move prospects along their journey. Before they even talk to anyone. And I think it's hard because I think most people don't want to be marketed to. So I think growth marketing mindset is super important here because you really need to build that superior experience. So, you need to think about what content people are getting when, and is it where they're at in their journey, and then how are they eventually handed off to sales, and that is smooth and seamless experience. um, and you also need to personalize your interactions with your customers. So to really build that trust, so they don't feel like they're marketed to. So I think if you can do all these things well, I think the more successful you'll be. So I think that's where marketing really has to spend a lot of energy now.
I trust you on that, Beth, and I can vouch for it. So, even in current scenarios, we working as a marketing agency, we have seen that content has always been the key. Even now, personalization and also the content plays important role in our marketing strategies, be it on any channel. So that's the most interesting thing that we are seeing. And to add on more towards the marketing, Beth, I would love to know, you have worked across various organizations, uh, even in, having into the different sizes of the different roles. Can you share your experience in terms of how easy or how difficult it was or it has been to navigate through different types of organizations or in your decision-making processes, executions, etc.?
Yeah, at the risk of generalizing too much, because I know all organizations are different and they have different cultures, but I've found in my experience, not surprisingly, that smaller organizations are easier to navigate. And that's why I enjoy working at them. In many startups, it's a case of if you've got a good idea and you want to do it, just roll up your sleeves and do it, and no one is stopping you. And it's much easier to like test things and be agile when that's the case. There is a downside to the small company. On the flip side, you may experience roadblock blocks because if you can't do it yourself, like I'm not a coder, so like I can't do that on the fly. You just simply might not have the resources. And I do think that's where agencies like Growth Natives come in, like who operate as a partner with us and are very flexible in terms of like shifting around priorities to help us, can be really helpful. But I will say that, even as much as company size, I think the organizational culture plays a big role in terms of how easy it is to get things done. So I think if you're thinking of joining a company, now I know to make sure they have a growth marketing mindset. I just assumed that was how all startups operated, and I've learned the hard way that that's not always the case. And you're definitely going to fail. And you and your CEO, both in your leadership team, we all need to be comfortable with that. And you need to find organizations that value that and invest in the learning that comes with failure. So I think that's an important point. And I think, some organizations play the shame and blame game, and you just don't have time for that in growth marketing, right? You don't need to deal with that. And similarly, as you hire your team, you need to find people with that growth mentality and those people who are adaptable, roll up their sleeves, and could easily pivot and change to new things.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Thank you so much for mentioning us with your. We always, love to help Fullcast with all of the marketing strategies that we have been working on and are we work on in future as well. Uh, just one more question, Beth. As we move forward and step into 2023, what are some key trends that you think that you feel that marketers should keep in mind ahead, just like cookieless privacy or
Mhm.
migration into GA4, etc.
Yeah, there are a couple of things that have been at the top of my mind lately. One is about gated content, right? You keep hearing like, is gated content dead? So this is not necessarily technology, but more of a strategy. And I don't think it's dead, but I agree that there's a saturation of content out there. And while we're trying to educate our customers and build trust, having a gate builds friction in the journey. So I think we need to be really thoughtful and work harder to make gated content work now, and needs to be super high quality. We need to constantly tweak it and tweak the content and the distribution channels. So again, back to growth marketing, and then be very thoughtful about where we use it in the journey, and then also like how do we measure the success of our campaigns without those gates. So at Fullcast right now, we're taking a growth marketing mindset and we're testing out different approaches to this right now. But I think that's something marketers are going to have to think a lot about going into the new year. And then something else that only really I feel like came on my radar in the last few days, so I'll bring it up, is the Chat GPT. My kids have been playing with it, and they're like, "Oh my God, this is not good for their schoolwork." But I'm somewhat skeptical of the quality and the accuracy is there yet. But I mean, for marketing, it could, if it works, it could be a game changer as it relates to frugal innovation, right? If you could use this as a starting point for customer success or customer engagements or for content development, it could make a difference. So we'll see on that front. But I know that's on all the rage in the last few days. So it's the top of my mind. So
That's good to know, Beth, and that's quite interesting as well. Technology is uh, with marketing, technology is also advancing and evolving. We mark as the marketing agencies, you being the startup companies, we are also facing a shift in the technologies as well. If you take an example, earlier we used to work on certain tools that weren't, that were very stringent while delivering the results. But now you'll see every single thing at one tool, starting from sending out the email campaigns to analyzing it, and then, you know, integrating it with the CRM tool as well. So we can say that MarTech tech stack is evolving year by year, and I'm sure by 2023 we'll be able to see more new interesting tools, and so as our generations, they will be interested to see more new technologies coming up for them. So
yeah, I
yes,
mean, all these
it's good.
new tools are great, but then there's the challenge of how do you prioritize and select what's best for your business? So that's something we're always facing as marketers, but
Yes, that's true. Struggle of being a marketer.
right.
All right. So moving forward, you know, frugal innovation is the next big thing in the startup economy, as economy struggles to come out of the downturn and the global tensions continue to occupy the disclosure. We are unlikely to see the big ticket investment, which were the norm in the last decade. So, as a startup, you must get your act together and do more with less to scale your business. At Growth Natives, our MarTech experts adopt unique methodology and approach to get started with the marketing transformation. And if you wish to initiate the planning of your marketing budget, you can also, you see the complimentary audit will be your first step. And you can get this on our website anytime. And also when you look into our webinar on our page, you'll see a CTA going to be, having a complimentary audit. But that can be helpful for you to initiate your marketing transformation. Uh, yeah, so ending my note with frugal innovation, which is like the big elephant, as I mentioned. It is promising, but your startup needs stimulating communication and marketing strategies. to increase its market footprint. So you need an expert team to drive your growth and let you focus on the core side of your business. Growth natives would be a perfect match for you. We are marketing automation experts and specialize in working with startups, emerging business. So let's take your business to greater height. You can email us at info@growthnatives.com, or you can join me on my LinkedIn channel as well. You can find me as Khushbu Bhatia, or you can visit on our website to book your free consultation. So here we end this webinar with a great note and with an intriguing and intellectual session with Beth. Beth, so thank you, so much of thank you to you, for being our guest speaker today. We have always been honored to serve you, and we look forward, working with you more in future with more advancements in technologies and more different marketing strategies.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Khushbu. This was really great.
All right. Okay, thank you so much. Talk to you soon.
All right, bye.